Is the scariest market crash in history just 30 days away? There are a number of signs that have to be present for a stock market crash to be possible. This is like a hurricane. All the hurricanes have the same conditions that have to be present. Just because they are present doesn't necessarily mean that we are going to get the hurricane. But when you do get the hurricane, you look back and you've seen all the signs that were there. There are a number of signs that have to be present for the stock market to crash. If 4 out of 5 signs are present, that is not enough. You have to get all 5 of them. There are 5 signs that I'm aware of from 1929, 1987, 2008, and 2020 crash. I will explain all 5 of these conditions and why these signs will lead us into the scariest stock market crash in history. Right after this. And of course, smash the like button. If you want to be my good boy, apply to write your first book with me. Welcome back to the Audacious Money Witch channel, where we talk about macroeconomy, stocks, bonds, and commodity markets. If you like any of these markets, please consider subscribing and tap the like button. It's totally free to do so if you like what you see in today's video. If you like any of these topics, you are intelligent. That's why you're here. You know what to do and push my button, because I can't push it from this side. This video is brought to you by my Patreon. If you are a sweet boy, go to patreon.com/magicalgoddesscheryl to support all my work. If you want to be my good boy, apply to write your first book with me, author of best-selling books, Goddess Cheryl. My good boys always obey and they always get rewarded handsomely. Have you been a good boy? You will get the encouragement you need to be on your author journey. Both 1929 and 1987 crashes bottomed at the same lunar date. The market bottom days are called the dark days. Come along in 2008. It did the exact same thing, and we are approaching that date here again in 2022. Really, how you come to it is you have to find the spring equinox and count 7 new moons forward of the spring equinox. And then you have to count 27 days past that. And you are going to have the potential for a stock market bottom. That same date, by the way, was the same date in the 1962 Cuban Missile Crisis, where US and the Soviet Union escalated into an international crisis and a defining moment in US nuclear war preparation. That confrontation is considered the closest into a full-scale nuclear war. We are approaching that same date as Biden offered some of the scariest comments on Thursday. For the first time since the Cuban Missile Crisis, we have a direct threat of the use of nuclear weapons if in the fact things continue down the path they are going. Putin threats are real, and they could spark nuclear Armageddon. So that date is not just governing financial market panic, it's also governing the real world. How I define crashes are from a high to a low in a short amount of time. Think 2020 crash. That's 33 trading days. The panic portions are all triggered by a full moon that occurs within 6 weeks of a solar eclipse. I look back on all the crashes in recent history. You can always see that signature there. The pattern is there in the stock market history. The date of a full moon is often close to a low or a dip in the market, even in bull markets. The third sign is Mars has opposition from Uranus at every crash. At least in every crash going back from 1929. Again, this has to be the exact opposition of degree formation. This is not going to be present all the time. We just entered that Mars-Uranus cycle literally in the December of 2021. And as soon as we did, the markets began to go down. It did that same pattern in 1929 as well. That Mars-Uranus cycle is concluding in December. So that means we need to be crashing in between now and December of this year. The 4 sign is that Saturn Uranus square. This is huge. This happens every 45 years. In 1842, we had a Saturn Uranus square. That's the bottom of the stock market crash. Add another 2 of this cycle, which is 90 years. We have 1932, 1929 was the peak. 1932 was the depression bottom. The stock market bottomed again at that dark day of Saturn Uranus square. It was a 90% collapse in the stock market. You add another 2 of the 45 cycle, it is now 2022. We are having a Saturn square Uranus again this year. It is reaching a 1% perfect square aspect, meaning it's going to a bottom in November. In November of this year, whatever panic that comes into the market should be concluded based on the 1932 cycle, but it's going to be a very significant crash. The 5th sign is just so obvious. That's the Jewish High Holy Day. For the people that don't know, Rosh Hashanah is the Jewish New Year, the birthday of the universe, the day Adam and Eve was created. And Yom Kippur is the day of the atonement, the holiest day of the year. In 1929, you add a high, you have a wave of 1 drop down around 10 to 20%. That gives people's attention. Then wave 2 is when you get a bounce back. Everyone thinks everything is okay. Then you get a rollover and right back down to the same low. Not all crashes break that low. When you have all the signs aligns and also the kiss of death trigger is confirmed, then you could get an extreme move to the downside, which investor knows as a crash. In 1929, when we went down, we literally stopped at Rosh Hashanah and we rallied all the way to Yom Kippur. And then we crashed. You're probably saying, so what? Well, we did the exact same thing in 1987 crash. We went down as soon as we hit Rosh Hashanah. Stopped. We rallied as soon as we hit Yom Kippur. We began to crash. In 2008, there was a massive curveball that came our way. That is, we did not rally from Rosh Hashanah to Yom Kippur. We crashed. We literally began to crash at Rosh Hashanah. That's present again this year as well. We triggered a kiss of death signal in between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur this year. The context is we were coming out of an everything bubble in 2021 and we went down into a June low. That's the wave 1. And we had a bounce and a kiss into August. That's wave 2. Then we made a new low at the last day of September after Rosh Hashanah. Triggered a kiss of death too. So it is possible now. At Yom Kippur this year, which begins on October 4th and ends at October 5th, we had our final 5th to 6% rally of hope. And you get past Yom Kippur in 1929 and 1987. All bets are off. We are crashing. We are going into wave 3, down into the high VIX panic crash soon. How big will this crash be? Well, in 1987, it was a 35.9%. In 2008, it was a 36%. In 2020, it was a 35% crash. In 1929, it was much larger, a 45% crash. If we have a 35% crash, that will take us to 2,768 on the S&P 500. In 1929, the wave 1 down was 17%. This time, the wave 1 down was 20%. If we have a 1929 style crash, that will take us down to 2,378 on the S&P 500. Roughly 80% of the price damage is done in the last 20% of the time in the bear market crash. I think we can go as low as the March of 2020 low. So the coming weeks or months are going to be the scariest time in the market in history. Are you ready? And now I'm going to show you my clients David, Vine, and Jama Ignite the Passion, Co-Create Your Dreams book. It's such an amazing book. And my client Teddy Eazzy's Wicked Pussy Perfume. It is an erotic novel, another incredible book. And my book, Believe in Yourself, Sweet Candy Dreams. And my book, Joy, the Spell of Magic, another best-selling book. So all of these books help with depression, anxiety, and stress. Please order your copy today. Like my video, and bye.